Indie JRPGs are having a moment right now. And I'm not talking about some retro pixel art nostalgia trip where devs just copy Chrono Trigger and call it a day. I'm talking about games that look at everything wrong with classic JRPGs. The grinding, the repetitive combat, the obtuse progression systems, and go, yeah, we're fixing that. These 15 games, they're not just good for indie games, they're better than most AAA JRPGs, period. Let's get into it.
Chained Echoes got a 10 out of 10 from some outlets, a Metascore of 85. That's universal acclaim territory for an indie JRPG. Here's why. It completely kills the grind. Every single battle fully restores your HP and MP. All of it. Gone. You read that right. You never have to conserve resources for boss fights. You can unleash your full toolkit every encounter because you're getting it all back anyway. This changes everything. No more spamming basic attacks on trash mobs to save your good skills. Every fight becomes a tactical puzzle where you're actively incentivized to go all out. The combat system, called Overdrive, rewards aggressive play, but punishes mindless button mashing through this pressure meter you have to manage. Some people found it restrictive, calling it a straitjacket if you don't master it. But that's the point. It replaces boring repetition with constant decision-making. Real talk, the learning curve is steep, but once it clicks, best turn-based combat I've played in years.
Sea of Stars is what everyone calls the dream SNES game. Beautiful pixel art, soundtrack co-composed by Yasunori Mitsuda, the Chrono Trigger guy, and it's polished as hell. The big modernization here, movement. You can swim, climb, vault, and jump. No grid-based movement. Exploration feels fluid, not like you're controlling a chess piece. Environmental puzzles are baked into progression. Combat has active timing inputs. You hit buttons at the right moment to boost attacks or block damage. There's a lock system where you break enemy defenses with specific damage types to interrupt their big moves. Now here's the problem. Combat gets repetitive toward the end. Limited skills per character means you're using the same strategies for the last 10 hours of the 30-hour campaign. Some people notice this, but the game's smart about it. Sabotage Studio knew their combat wasn't infinitely deep, so they prioritized flow and presentation and made sure the game ends right before you get bored. Oh, and there's this in-game tabletop game called Wheels. Slot machine mechanics, crown health management, hero leveling from bronze to gold, and when you hit gold level, your hero drops a bomb for direct damage. It's weirdly satisfying and a great side activity.
Cosmic Star Heroine is a retro sci-fi spy thriller. You're Alyssa, a galactic agent fighting to stop the resurrection of an ancient dark god. The aesthetic is pure 16-bit with modern pixel art, and the tactical combat is fast-paced. Gunmancy, dance buffs, energy attacks, it's all about specialized party roles. And here's the thing, the plot gets Xenogears level convoluted. Character reveals, secret influences, cosmic manipulation. If you're into 90s space opera stories, this nails that vibe. The combat's kinetic and quick, perfect for people who want tactical depth without slow animations dragging everything down.
Anno Mutationem does something genius with its art style. 2D character sprites doing action RPG combat in fully explorable 3D environments. The blend is seamless and the performance is flawless. It looks incredible. You play Anne Flores, a detective and a lone wolf, searching for her missing brother while dealing with a rare illness that causes hallucinations. Dark cyberpunk mystery, personal stakes. Combat revolves around shield mechanics. You use heavy attacks to destroy enemy shields before you can execute finishers. You've got a katana, greatsword, and gun. Swapping on the fly for elemental damage is crucial. But here's what makes this interesting. The world completely overshadows the main story. The side quests, the activities, the characters, they're so dense and layered that critics said the main narrative suffers from slow pacing. I think that's a feature, not a bug. The world feels like it exists without you. You're just a visitor in this massive cyberpunk metropolis, and that's way more immersive than being the chosen one saving the world.
Jack Move is an 8 to 10 hour cyberpunk JRPG with VHS-era aesthetics. Blade Runner, Akira, William Gibson vibes. You play Noah Solaris, a hacker fighting the Monomind Corporation to rescue her dad,
a researcher in digital reanimation, corporate kidnapping, dark experiments, battle for humanity's future. The twist? Single party member. You only control Noah. All the variety comes from customizing her cyberspace deck. Modular software for skills and buffs, hardware for passive boosts. The core mechanic is the install command. Mid-battle, you can edit your active software loadout. Noah can instantly shift between offense, defense, and utility depending on what you need. You're constantly reconfiguring your deck, and that's where the tactical depth lives. By limiting the party size, the devs forced all the complexity into deck optimization. It works.
Number 6. Transistor. From Supergiant Games, Bastion, Hades, Transistor is polished as hell. Futuristic city of Cloudbank, gorgeous art, Darren Korb's soundtrack influenced by Radiohead's OK Computer. You play Red, a silenced singer wielding the transistor, a weapon infused with consciousness. You fight robotic enemies called the Process while uncovering the truth about the Camerata. The combat system is the star. It's real-time action mixed with tactical planning. You move and attack in real time, but whenever you want, you pause. Time freezes. You plot out your next moves, where you go, what you attack, the order it happens. Hit confirm, and it all executes instantly. Then, cooldown locks you in and you're back to real-time survival, dodging, staying alive. Then you pause and plan again. The depth comes from function combinations. Skills slot into active, passive, or upgrade roles. Near endless combinations. Combat feels personal and strategic. The genius is the split challenge. Planning your pause phases tests your tactics. Real-time cooldown tests your survival and positioning. It's a dynamic ebb and flow you don't get in pure turn-based or pure action games.
Number 7. Crystal Project. Developed by Andrew Willman, Crystal Project is a non-linear Metroidvania JRPG. Beautiful pixel art, FF5-style job system. The hook? Near infinite freedom to explore. Progression is tied to advanced platforming and verticality. You're hunting for crystals across jungles, snowy mountains, caves. And here's the kicker. Acquiring new job classes grants new traversal abilities. Mechanical progression and world exploration reinforce each other. You can't separate them. Combat uses MMO-like threat mechanics. Enemies target whoever's generated the most threat through damage, healing, or taunts. No RNG targeting. Full information battles that demand calculated team composition and turn planning. It's Metroid exploration meets Final Fantasy job customization. If you loved Breath of the Wild's Go Anywhere design, this scratches that itch in JRPG form.
Next up, CrossCode. This is an action RPG set inside Crossworlds, a fictional VR MMO. The presentation is detailed, polished 16-bit SNES-style graphics with a vibrant soundtrack. You play as Leah, a spheromancer. Combat is fast-paced with twin blades and a specialized ball-throwing mechanic, charging, ricocheting. It's used for combat and puzzle solving. And the exploration has strong verticality, despite the top-down 2D perspective. Jumping and platforming puzzles are essential for progression. And look, many players who found the story or characters weak still played 40+ hours because the combat and puzzles are that satisfying. This is a gameplay-first JRPG. The MMO simulation framework gives you endless content to engage with. If you care more about mechanics than narrative, CrossCode delivers.
Number 9. Echo Generation. Echo Generation has outstanding voxel visuals. Charming, unique aesthetic. The game captures a 90s sci-fi atmosphere. Stand By Me meets the X-Files. You play a protagonist with their younger sister Lily and a pet, exploring neighborhood mysteries and dimensional rifts. Turn-based combat with action commands like Mario RPG. Timely button presses for attacks and defense. The game's short, 8 hours, and that's good because the combat gets spongy late game. Enemies become damage sponges. But the visuals, atmosphere, and exploration compensate. This is a low-commitment, high-charm experience for people who want something cozy without a 60-hour investment.
Number 10. Edge of Eternity. Edge of Eternity is the ambitious one. High-fidelity 3D JRPG from an indie team. strategic turn-based combat on a tactical grid in fully realized 3D environments. You use terrain and positioning to maximize effectiveness. This game proves indie studios can tackle complex, high production value 3D world design and intricate combat systems. It bridges the gap between massive AAA JRPGs and smaller indie efforts. If you want proof that indie devs can compete with big-budget studios visually and mechanically, Edge of Eternity is it.
In Stars in Time, solo creator Adrian Bazir made this striking, monochromatic black and white art style. The premise, you're Sifrin, trapped in a devastating time loop, fighting a tyrant king. The loop is a curse, not a blessing. Death resets the cycle. Combat, freezing, finding lethal items, but you retain knowledge. Knowledge is the progression currency. You solve puzzles, memorize conversations, execute the correct sequence of choices in future runs. You can fast forward through dialogue you've seen. Looping forward to previously visited floors costs memories of skirmish, in-game currency. Knowledge becomes a finite, usable resource. This design subverts JRPG grinding by making repetition the central mechanic. And the psychological toll on Sifrin, especially when the loop breaks down late game, intensifies your emotional investment beyond standard narrative. Repetition becomes the point. Failure becomes progression. It's brilliant.
Number 12, Eternights. Eternights merges fast-paced action RPG combat with dating sim elements. Post-apocalyptic scenario where you fight for survival and seek romantic connections. The innovation? Your combat prowess is directly tied to your social bonds. Investing in dating sim segments, raising relationship ranks, gives you combat power boosts and enhanced abilities. Social interaction isn't optional, it's core to combat optimization. Real talk, the social link progression gets repetitive. Every character follows almost the same event path to hit relationship milestones. Critics noted this. But the concept succeeds. Emotional investment becomes tactical necessity. You're forced to engage with narrative and character development to achieve optimal battle performance. If you love Persona, this is your indie alternative.
A 13, Fuga, Melodies of Steel 3. Fuga 3 is a tactical turn-based game about children piloting a massive tank called Tyrannus. High emotional tension, devastating moral choices. New mechanics include assist characters unlocked through an alignment system. They provide powerful effects without consuming a turn. But the defining feature is the soul cannon. You sacrifice a child crew member to execute a battle-ending attack. Permanent character death, no takebacks. In Fuga 3, they removed the non-lethal option from the previous game. The moral choice is absolute. And during boss fights, if a character hits critical HP, they'll automatically start a countdown to throw themselves into the cannon without your input. They removed player agency. Tank health management becomes critical to avoid involuntary permadeath. The game institutionalizes emotional risk within core mechanics. This is what happens when devs actually give a shit about making story consequences matter.
14. Astria Ascending. Astria Ascending has 8 demigods fighting destructive forces called harmonies. Veterans from Final Fantasy worked on this. The strength? Deep character customization via an intuitive 4-tier job system. Party members start with 1 job and gain access to 3 more specialized roles. You mix abilities across main, sub, support, and universal classes. This pseudo-job grid is the core gameplay puzzle. If you prioritize character synergy and mechanical optimization, this is your jam. The downside, critics call the narrative generic with bland dialogue and weak villain motivations. The job system carries the game, but that's fine. Not every JRPG needs an Oscar-worthy story. Sometimes mechanical depth is enough. Astria Ascending proves that.
15. WitchSpring R. WitchSpring R is the comfort food of JRPGs. Cute, hilarious, exceptionally charming. Remaster of a popular mobile series by Kiwi Walks. You play Pieberry, an endearing protagonist, eye-catching visuals, customizable growth paths, meaningful crafting, 20+ companion pets you can tame, the anti-grind philosophy. Every battle is a bespoke encounter. You can repeat battles to farm items, but experience points won't accumulate indefinitely from repeat fights. This shifts the power curve away from combat repetition toward resource gathering, training
training systems, and specialized character development. Your time is always directed toward meaningful, diverse progress. It's cozy, systemically intriguing, and designed to respect your time. Perfect for people who want depth without the commitment.
Look, indie JRPGs aren't just filling the gap while we wait for the next Final Fantasy or Persona. They're pushing the genre forward in ways AAA studios won't risk. Chained Echoes fixed resource hoarding. In Stars and Time made failure a resource. Transistor bridged action and strategy. Crystal Project gave us genuinely open-world JRPG design. These devs understand the genre's strengths and weaknesses. Smaller teams, tighter budgets, they're forced toward conceptual efficiency. Every system has purpose. Social bonds in Eternights, moral sacrifices in Fuga, and knowledge retention in Stars and Time. It all serves the central player contract. These aren't substitutes for AAA titles. They're essential, boundary-pushing experiences the entire industry should study. If you thought JRPGs peaked in the 90s, these 15 games prove the current indie revival is richer, more tactical, and mechanically more sophisticated than anything that came before. That's it. Go play them!